Welcome back to another lesson. Today we're going to do another theory ed session. We're going to be talking about the flat 7 chord and its use in a major key. So you're thinking a flat 7 chord, so if we think of the key of C major, okay, where does the B flat come into that? It doesn't exist when we look at the scale diatonically. I did a video not too long ago, I think it was the 2 videos ago, where I discussed the major scale, the key and everything else with that. So when we look at the key of C major very quickly, C, D minor, E minor, F, G, A minor, this B, half diminished, C. There's no sign of a B flat in there, is there? But using the flat 7 chord is a great songwriting tool, and many fantastic bands have utilised this. There's probably there will be thousands upon thousands of examples here. I am going to pick out a couple, 2 or 3 or 4 maybe for you, just to give you an example. Hopefully later on as well, just discuss how you could perhaps approach a solo in a situation where you've got a flat 7 chord in there. So firstly though, where does the flat 7 chord come from? What we're actually doing is we're borrowing the chord from the parallel minor key. So we've got C major. If we think of C minor, okay, we get these chords: C minor, D half diminished, E flat, F minor, G minor, A flat major, B flat major, C minor. So we're actually borrowing the chord from the C Aeolian mode, okay, or the C minor key, which is related to E flat. I won't go down into all that now. So we're borrowing the chord, okay, it's the 7th degree of C minor, resolving back to C minor there. Listen to how great it sounds when you resolve it to C major. Sounds really good, and like I say, is a commonly used trick. So we're borrowing the chord. I think another thing as well about the way that chord works is the way the individual lines resolve. So if you think of the B flat major chord, we have a B flat, F, B flat, a D. So you think about it, your D is resolving back to C, okay? Your B flat, in fact, sorry, we could say that the D is going into E, better, the B flat going to C, okay, the F to G, and the B flat to C. So you've got that nice step movement. The flat 7 chord often you can use it again as a replacement for that dominant 5 chord. So if you're writing a progression in C, for example, I've got an example at the back end of the video that I'll show you what chords I'll show you the chords I'm using there, and also just some little tips on maybe how to approach soloing in that. But let's have a look, just randomly kind of incorporating it into a C major progression. Sounds really good. B flat major to C. So we're borrowing it from a parallel minor key. Let's have a look at some very famous examples of that. She said, I know what it's like to the masterful She Said from the Beatles' 1966 album Revolver. Another one from Revolver, they must have been into this flat 7 chord, old Lennon, McCartney and the boys. Your day breaks, your mind aches, you find that all the words of kindness linger on when she no longer needs you. Hey, exactly what I just played right when I made up my progression, only I can't write songs like them boys did. What about 2 years previous to that, 1964? Got a feeling inside, can't explain, certain kind, can't explain, feel hot and cold, can't explain, yeah, down in my soul, can't explain. The Who's classic debut single, Can't Explain, as The Who. As The Who and not the High Numbers. You can carry on into the 70s. Get your palm muting on. Finished with my woman, 'cause she couldn't help me with my mind. And go and bite the head of a bat. Don't do that, actually. Animal cruelty. Right, okay, so the flat 7 chord, used some examples of its usage there. So it's a really great trick to throw into your own work. Obviously, when you're playing songs, have a see if you've got a chord, a major chord, that's 2 steps back from the tonic chord. And generally, a quick way to think about that would be that if you've got a song that starts on a chord, generally, not always, that's the key of the song. And if you've got a chord that's 2 semitones back, and probably resolving to that that chord, then you've got that flat 7 chord in there. So what I will do now is I'll show you a progression and some ways in which we can solo over it. So, over the progression then, the chord progression is C, A minor, B flat, the flat 7, going into G. Often though, the flat 7 does resolve back or go back to the tonic chord C, but in this example I've just thrown it in to show it kind of existing, you know, it not kind of resolving back to the tonic chord. So soloing over there, when you get a lot of people's go to kind of, you know, scale when they're soloing, when they know it's a major key, would be initially to drop into the relative minor. You know, there's a couple of notes that aren't entirely strong in that. So if we think of A minor being the relative minor of C, of course you've got your A, which is the 6th, you know, over a C in C. I guess it does depend on what chord is actually being played. But just to, for example, you know, the starting chord being C, just to blanket an A minor pentatonic, you know, you'd build it up by ear. Some of the notes aren't exactly strong. I wouldn't say the A is particularly strong. It's not a chord tone. The D, you know, can work, but you just got to be careful, I think, when you are, you know, just sort of blanketing. So what I've done in this solo is, firstly, I've kind of hinted at the, like in my previous theory ed lesson, I've hinted at the, you know, the C major pentatonic. That kind of starts us off. Some nice chord tones over the A minor. So over the B flat, what some of you may recognise that we are hitting a D minor 7 arpeggio. So if you think of the chord, the B flat chord, if you start on its third degree and harmonise in thirds, you get your D, F, A, C. Hey presto, D minor 7 arpeggio. The scale, again, some notes won't be terribly strong, but starting on the third of a major chord, if you was purely thinking in terms of just soloing over that chord, again, it's kind of it's kind of thinking, boxing clever about what the chord is and where I'm approaching the solo and what scale or what do I want to play over that. So I think it's good to, I may do some lessons on just kind of approaching chord tones and scales that work. Often in rock and pop, someone just blankets it works brilliantly as well sometimes, and you can hear sometimes there's a lot of, for beginners, there's a lot of clashing and notes that don't really fit. So just over the B flat, I've come away from the C major pentatonic. Again, bearing in mind the A minor pentatonic and C major are pretty similar, are of the same. So when you come into the B flat, that doesn't really kind of fit anymore. So the first time over the B flat chord, I've just played this D. I've thought of the third of B flat. I've thrown in a G, I think, in there as well. Bearing in mind the last chord is G, which I play. Which that little rundown's result coming back is wanting to head back to the C chord, so I end up on the E note again there. If you've got a flat 7 chord in your progression, major scale, major key progression, then the other thing you can think of is if I'm playing around sort of C major. Okay, C major pentatonic. Just literally, I think I'm playing on the top three. Well, I'm playing on the top 3 strings as well. Just simply come back a tone, of course, and you're at B flat. So if you're hitting around that major minor pentatonic type of scale, so in this case I'm thinking C, and I'm kind of hitting some chord tones, but if you're blanketing over C major pentatonic, A minor pentatonic, just drop back a whole tone and you get, in this case you're at B flat, okay? And of course B flat's relative minor is G minor. G natural minor there. So just look, again, if you're blanketing your progression, and that means you're just kind of noodling around, and them scales will work quite interesting. But just have a listen to see, you might land on a note, or be playing, a note or two that isn't particularly strong, and this is just due to, because the chord that would be under it, you're kind of stepping outside of the chord tones. Some of them sound nice, but you'll work that out by ear. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed that. A little bit more of a theory ed session, and I'll be back soon with another tune. Thank you.